Hello and welcome to day 2 of this special devotional, 5-day devotional on how to have a great year. And particularly we're looking at the laws that governs super achievement. In essence, how do you become a super achiever, producing uncommon results, producing uncommon success? That's God's design for you. That's my desire for you in 2024. Your life will be a display of what is possible when a man partners with God. And yesterday I started by saying that everything that we celebrate, every progress and advancement that we celebrate on the face of the earth is based on certain laws that have been discovered and that have been fulfilled. That nobody makes progress. There's no success that you see on the face of the earth without a principle undergirding it. And it's the discovery. You see, our greatest job is to discover these laws and then align our lives with these laws. I want to start with the first law, and I think it's a powerful one. Now, let me quickly say that the laws I'm sharing with you are not necessarily spiritual laws, but they are life laws. And what I mean by that is this, is that you don't have to be a Christian to know these things, okay? And you find people who are not Christians who know these things and they use it, and you're wondering how come they're getting the kind of results that they are getting. And that's because laws are non-discriminatory. I shared that yesterday. Laws are non-partisan, non-partial. Anybody who knows what the laws are and can walk around the laws will get the results that the laws have for them, whether they are believers or not. And so law number one, principle number one that you have to make a priority in 2024 is the law of planning. The law of planning. Now, I know that sounds very basic and that sounds very simple, but the first thing to note is that planning many a times goes contrary-wise our Pentecostal and charismatic training. We're trained to be spontaneous. We're trained to be inspirational. In essence, we're inspired people. The moment an idea comes, we want to jump at it. We want to do anything, and all the rest. We want to get at it. But let me quickly help you with this. I hope you know that and I hope this delivers somebody completely. For the redemption of man, God instituted a plan that ran for thousands upon thousands of years. Adam fell in the Garden of Eden, and God immediately said, the seed of the woman shall bruise the head of the serpent, and the serpent shall bruise the heel, and all the rest. Made that statement there. But then it took well over 2,000 years before that we saw the seed of the woman eventually. And if you study the scriptures, theologians call it the plan of redemption. So if God planned mankind's redemption for centuries, upon centuries upon centuries, then I think that we may be joking with the power of a plan. Can I tell you something? Your chances of success increases to the measure of the investment of thoughts you have given to a plan. In essence, your chances of success of succeeding at any endeavor increases exponentially when you give more attention to planning for that thing. Now, in Luke, the 18th chapter, the 14th chapter from verse 28, you see Jesus talking about a plan. He talked about how that if you want to go to war, he says you must have a plan. If you want to build a house, you must have a plan. And like I always tell people that the way you plan for a bungalow, building a bungalow, is not the way you plan for building a duplex. The way you plan for building a duplex is not the way you plan for building a skyscraper. If you're going to build a skyscraper 100 stories built, 100 stories high, 100 levels high, I hope you know that the plan you're going to institute and put in place is not exactly the same plan you will put for a bungalow. Now, here's what I like to say to people. Your plan reflects the value you put on your life. Your plan always reflects the value you put on that thing. In essence, the greater the value you place on a thing, the greater the plan you will give to that thing. The greater the investment of thoughts you will give to it in producing a plan for that thing. So plans always reveal value, always reveals value. There's a beautiful scripture, I shared it, First Chronicles, the 22nd chapter, and I was speaking with a friend, and he just mentioned it, and it blessed me so tremendously about how that David First Chronicles 22, I believe verse 5, how that David said that the house shall be great and magnificent. And so he said, because of that, he says, I have to plan for it. In essence, he looked at how big the temple of the Lord will be, and he says, hey, I can't build it just anyhow. Because of the magnificence of this temple, we must have a great plan in place for the building of it. So your plan shows how magnificent, how great your future, your life is in your own eyes. Planning actually is the foremost proof of faith. If you believe in something, then you will plan for it. It's the foremost proof of faith. And so I always tell people, if you want to have a glorious year, it's not only going to happen because of confessions. Thank God for confessions. But it's not going to happen only because you confessed great words, you prayed a lot and all the rest. No, you must have a solid plan. Now, somebody says, but Pastor, how do I plan my year? How do I plan? I don't even know how to plan. It's 365 days. What do I do? Hear this. Every plan must start from a vision. Every plan must start from a vision. In essence, you break down your life into the compartments that matter. And I shared with a couple of persons different areas you have to look into. Your relationship with God, your relationship with your spouse, your work, your career, and on and on. All the different aspects, your finances, your hobbies and your interests, personal development, the different aspects of your life. You take them, put them in buckets, and then you must have a vision for each and every one of them. You pray and wait before the Lord in prayer. Stay before the Lord in prayer. He's going to give you a vision. He's going to impress desires in your heart concerning that area of life. But after you have prayed, God expects you to plan. God gives the vision, but we devise the steps. God gives the vision, but we devise the steps. So the first element of a plan is what? A vision. You cannot have a plan if you don't have a vision. In essence, what do I want my finances to look like at the end of the year? What do I want this to be? What do I want that to be? What do I want the church to be? What do I want my business to be? A vision. A vision simply being a picture, a vision being a picture, a description of a future that you're envisaging. All right? That's what a vision is. A future you're envisaging. This is what I want it to be. You must have a vision. And don't get started in this year without a vision. Now, a vision does not have to be detailed. And what do I mean by that? You don't need to have all of the details, but you know, this is what I want my finances to be at the end of the year. Now, once you have a vision, then you break it down into goals, long-term, medium-term, and short-term. Now, the beauty of a plan is that once you institute a plan, it will show you the gaps in your resources, in your skill, and in your knowledge that needs to be filled. You know why it's a vision? It's a vision because you have not yet actualized it. And the reason you have not yet actualized it is that there's something you need to know, someone you need to be, some skills you need to have, certain things you need to do that you're not doing currently. Now, when you have a vision, let's take, for example, you say, okay, I want to have 100 million naira in savings and investments at the end of 2024. I want to have 10 million naira in savings and investments at the end of 2024. The question is, it's a big vision. So how are you going to accomplish it? You want to break it down. Okay, every quarter, if it's 10 million, then that means every quarter I want to have 2.5 million saved. For somebody else, it may be 250. For another person, it may be 250 million. Whatever it is, it depends on you and where you are. Are you getting what I'm saying here? And so you break it into short-term goals, medium-term goals, make it time-bound, easily attainable goals, steps that you can take. Now, it is from your goals you develop a plan. It is from your goals you develop a plan. So between January and March, this is what must be done. Okay, if I'm going to have 2.5 million naira in savings, okay, how much extra must I make? So you begin to see the gaps. My current job may not be able to give me this extra money. So I need another stream of income. If I'm going to have another stream of income, then I need to acquire this skill. I need to acquire this knowledge. And that's what a plan does for you. You see, a plan is not a rigid document. It's just showing you a template, a design on how we are going to move from where we are to where we want to be. Somebody said something very powerful, and I believe it so strongly. He said, 1 minute of planning, one minute of planning will save you 1 hour in execution. I agree that if you plan, spend time to plan, it will save you a lot more time in execution. You know, I always tell people, before you do anything, please listen to me, before you do anything, think it through first. The problem with us many times is that we act before we think, or we are thinking while we are acting. Whereas God designed you to finish the task in your mind, and then you come to act on what you have thought. So, for example, I have people here who are shooting these videos with me and all the rest. Now, if we're going to be effective, they have to think through, what are we trying to do from the beginning to the end? And then after they have thought it through, so we start with a vision. The vision is, what are we trying to do? What is the end goal? Then they break it down into, how do we accomplish this? How do we get the audio? How do we get the video? Okay, do we have the mic? Do we have this? Do we have that? The problem many times is, oh, we need to shoot a video. Let's get into the room. And then everybody's camping, looking for this and looking for that. They've not thought through everything. And then you find out a video that should take you just 30 minutes to shoot is taking you 3 hours because you didn't think it through. There's a cable needed to connect this to this. If you had thought it through, you would have gone to acquire the cable before you come to execution. Execution should be sweatless when there is good plan. And so one of the things you have to do in this year 2024 is to give a lot of attention to quality thinking, strategic thinking, to come up with the required plans for your life. And when you have the plan, you will immediately see gaps, skill gaps. Are you following what I'm saying here? There is somebody you need to be for that vision that you have said. For example, a pastor says, I want 5,000 members. How does a 5,000 member pastor think? How does he behave? How does a 5,000 member church behave? I want to have 20 branches. So you start thinking with the cap of somebody who is already there. Then you draw a plan from where you are to where you are going to. Did you get that? Before tomorrow, I hope you would have a plan already. Doesn't need to be complete, but get started on it. God bless you, and cheers to a great year.